Sometimes you will hear critics describe LGBTQ lifestyles as unnatural, or some people will insist that only two biological sexes exist. That's just science. But here at the Genesee Country Nature Center, we pay a lot of attention to science. And when you listen to what biologists have actually learned about how sex and sexuality work in non-human life forms, well, it turns out nature is just a lot more complicated and interesting than that. Let's start with our closest primate relatives, Pan-Paniscus, the bonobo. Closely related to chimpanzees as well, bonobos are now an endangered species found only in a small region of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Unlike their chimpanzee cousins, who are sometimes violent with each other and even engage in long-term intergroup warfare, bonobos are remarkably peaceful and gentle with each other. Primatologists who have studied bonobos in the wild have also documented a wide range of sexual behavior, including long-term same-sex relationships among females and males. In fact, most female bonobos participate in sexual activity with other females, and researchers believe these relationships form a fundamental part of their group's social structure. Jonathan, the Seychelles giant tortoise, is estimated to be 192 years old, making him the oldest living land animal known to science. He was brought to St. Helena, a British overseas island in the South Atlantic, in 1882 as a gift to the governor, and has lived in the governor's plantation residence ever since, seen here with Queen Elizabeth in 1947. He's also gay. In 1991, the French consul brought another Seychelles giant tortoise as a gift to the British governor. The two tortoises soon mated and lived together comfortably for nearly 30 years before caretakers realized that the other tortoise was also male. The caretakers in the tiny island's tourist industry were somewhat shocked, but the tortoises don't seem bothered at all. You may have heard about gay penguin dads, or even seen the children's book, but there's actually been quite a few such families. Roy and Silo are the famous chinstrap penguins in the Central Park Zoo, who starred in the children's book And Tango Makes Three, but there's also Sven and Magic, the Gen 2 penguin couple at the Sydney Zoo in Australia, Scampy and Flounder, Humboldt penguins in the Chester Zoo in the UK, Skipper and Ping, king penguins in the Berlin Zoo, Elmer and Lima, pictured here, are Humboldt penguins in Syracuse's Rosamond Gifford Zoo, who have successfully raised foster eggs in their nest since 2022. Many of these penguin species are vulnerable or endangered, so the role of these gay penguin dads can't be underestimated. The gay penguin dads should be enough to show us that nature allows for many ways to be a family, but biological variety goes a lot deeper than that. We don't have to go any further than our own ponds right here at the Nature Center to see just how changeable biological sex can be in the natural world. Green frogs, like the one pictured here, are typically born with two X chromosomes making them female or an X and Y chromosome making them male. But during development, before they metamorphose from tadpoles into adults, as much as 10% of them will change their sex characteristics and develop into adults of the opposite sex. Some scientists have claimed that this is the result of exposure to harmful chemicals, but researchers have documented green frog sex reversals even in entirely isolated remote ponds. They don't know what variables cause the reversals to take place, but some speculate that having breeding females with Y chromosomes increases genetic diversity in the offspring, leading to healthier populations overall. Speaking of breeding, nature has found quite a few ways to make that happen that don't line up with our human heteronormative expectations. One of the more spectacular of these is the seahorse, pictured here, where it is the male that gets pregnant and gives birth. Seahorse fathers incubate their developing embryos in a pouch located on their tail. The pouch is the equivalent of the uterus of female mammals. It contains a placenta, supporting the growth and development of baby seahorses. Seahorse dads provide nutrients and oxygen to their babies during pregnancy, using some of the same genetic instructions as mammalian pregnancies. The New Mexican whiptail lizard, on the other hand, gets the job done without any males at all. All New Mexican whiptails are female, and they reproduce through parthenogenesis, a natural form of asexual reproduction in which the embryo develops directly from an egg without need for fertilization. The female lizards do mate with each other to stimulate ovulation of the eggs that then develop, but they require no males in the process, and they do not produce male offspring. Parthenogenesis, like the New Mexican whiptails, is pretty rare among vertebrate animals, but plants have found all kinds of ways to reproduce. Plants may be dioecious, which means that they bear either male or female flowers in the reproductive parts that are contained there, Or they can be monoecious, meaning that they bear both male and female flowers on the same plant. And some plants, like the sugar maples pictured here, can be male, female, or monoecious, meaning both, depending entirely on the individual tree. The real stars of sexual diversity, though, would have to be the fungi. A binary of sexes certainly cannot encompass the range of reproductive options available to most fungi. This species, Schizophyllum commune, expresses a range of 23,000 different potential sexes, based on the sequence of hundreds of variations of two different alleles in two different locations of their genome. That makes it possible for almost any individual of the species to reproduce with almost any other. In conclusion, I'd really recommend this book, Bruce Bagameal's Biological Exuberance, Animal Homosexuality and Natural Diversity, which is a true encyclopedia of reproductive and sexual diversity. The stories I've shared here are just the tip of the iceberg. The natural world is chock full of diverse forms of sex, reproduction, family, and socialization. Never let anyone tell you that their idea of how humans ought to behave is based on what is natural or what biology teaches us. The real natural world is complex, unpredictable, and changeable, just like us.